Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Hello, everyone. I can see the chatmosphere right now. I see Karen Scott of the Scots. Thank you for being here, Karen. We appreciate you so much. And Jamie, wow, Jamie, look at that. And Beth, Beth's here. Yay, Beth. Gen X is representing. Okay, so wow, I can't believe I caught this live as well. Hello, Beth. I'm glad you caught it live also. This is awesome. I hope more people stream in. And if you're joining for the first time, welcome. If you're watching on a replay, I hope you enjoy it, okay? And please leave comments, correct me if I say something wrong. It's not in, I haven't meant to, in other words. So if you have anything to add, I appreciate that. This is a group project after all, okay? I'm no expert at all, okay? Just trying to put dots together and reason with the family at large so we can figure some things out, right? Okay? All right, so let's begin with this episode 28. This is a retrospective. If you're not familiar with what this particular show is, it is a retrospective of American culture. 60 years of a rewind, and we've been hanging out over on Roku streaming, and I was playing music, okay? But for now, I'm just working a few things out in terms of doing that over here on YouTube. So bear with me. We're going to do commentary this evening, and we will do music soon, okay? All right. So I have found 1992 to be very fascinating in terms of all of the hijinks and shenanigans that went on in 1992. Again, I remember the year I went through this as a Gen X. I can see why my generation was stared in a certain way. Hello, Corin. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I miss seeing you. So great to have you here. All right. So, and I'll get to see people as you stream in. I just want to say thanks for joining. Okay. So, 1992, episode 28 in this retrospective of culture. What's the 411? I thought would be a perfect title because this is the year Mary J. Blige, the queen of R&B soul, I think that's the title they gave to Mary J. Blige. She debuted as the queen, positioned by a very brilliant marketer, his name being at the time Puff Daddy. I think he was going by Puff Daddy. So he had something to do with her career. I'm not going to say he found her and all of that, but he did a lot of crafting, image crafting, and things like that. So he definitely had a lot to do with her rise to power in terms of the music industry. She came in like a storm. I really enjoyed her music and enjoyed her videos and things like that. Look at that. We have 420 Wild Dragon joining. Hello and welcome, 420 up there in Canada, Stan. We hope everything is going well. Okay. Thank you for joining. We love our family up in Canada. Okay. We always wish the best for you. All right. So we had also in 1992, Mae Jemison, as you see. I'm an astronaut. You know, we had some brave and stunning astronauts that graced the world, the planet, the globe. Last year, that would be Oprah's best friend, Gail. And we had, 420 Wild Dragon, your prime minister's new girlfriend, was also an astronaut. And so we had lots of brave and stunning astronauts that, went up into space. So yeah, Mae Jemison, however, yeah, maybe a real astronaut. But again, what is space anymore? We're all pretty much at a point where we don't believe anything. And that's okay, right? We're going to get through it. We believe some things, but the space stuff is a little bit janky right now. Okay, Dave Walker, look at that. Thank you, Dave. Welcome. And oh my, it's great to see a lot of names that we used to get together. We're getting back together. Okay, so what else? Let's look at the next slide, please. Thank you, Dave. That's so great. I'll see you as you stream in. Like I said, we're going to name this What's the 411? Now, 411 is street urban dictionary. 411, when everybody knows this, probably if you're Gen X or older, you know that 411 on the telephone, we would call to get information. Remember that? 411 to get a number. So 411 used to be, I guess, our chat GPT. So we used that 411 and it charged us so much money, remember? So you would get in trouble if you use 411 to get all of that information. So we are about to start seeing information explode. But what is the 411? I don't know if you've been watching the documentary that 50 Cent Curtis Jackson has on Netflix. I talked about it before, the first part. I haven't watched the rest of it yet, but I do plan to. I would like to watch all of them. It is one of those things that I didn't want to binge watch it because it was so heavy in terms of, we heard a lot about this stuff. It was just done really well. It was thought provoking and it brought up some things that have been whispered in the culture. It's been said for years. It was rumor, and then more and more voices started to add to the conversation. And then, of course, the climax being last year, the Diddy trial. And the Diddy trial has been something so massive, way bigger than any trial I think we've watched. We didn't even get to watch it, of course, not like the OJ trial, but it was on par with the OJ trial. Maybe, I don't know in terms of viewership, but those two are huge cases that remind you of each other in a way. So Diddy now is being looked at where the evidence, you could say, is hard to deny. And people that supported Diddy are even questioning him. He doesn't have, from what I'm understanding, the same support that he had prior to this documentary, because it's bringing his character to the forefront, being so monstrous and narcissistic, just all out for himself. He could have done a lot of good because I would say he has a lot of talent. I don't think that he's as talented maybe as he has marketed himself to be, but he has a brilliance to him. Imagine all of that being used for good again. A lot of people, if they would flip to the kingdom of Yah and the light, the real light, we would see amazing things out of them, I'm thinking. But Mary J. Blige continues to be a part of this culture, hip hop, soul, R&B. Unfortunately, the genre has been tarnished beyond repair. many of the people that started this genre off are gone. It's a strange thing to have a lot of your friends and colleagues just die under mysterious circumstances. Hello, Juan. Thanks for joining. Yeah, so this is the birth of Mary J. Blige on the scene. And she struggled. We watched her be developed because there were some rough edges, and she was able to smooth that out a bit in terms of imaging. So let's look at the next slide. What's the 411? Well, unfortunately, the verdict came in. Talk about a court case. This is the verdict that happened out in Los Angeles. If you can rewind in your mind back to the time where the police officers, the LAPD, were acquitted for beating Rodney King, and it incited a riot. There was a rage that was brewing, and it was being fomented in the media, and we now can see that it's a part of the play, how they do things in other countries. And it is now unreal that this happened organically. I don't care. If somebody is beaten by the police, yeah, it's horrible, but it is not something that would make you burn your own neighborhood down. You can't tell me that this was organic rage. This is rage that was created, it was engineered. So again, as we have moved progressively towards 24-hour access to information, what's the 411? Well, CNN became a new part of the propaganda arm. Sparkling Gems, welcome. Thanks for joining. Nice to see you. So we have violence, property damage, unreal, to the tune of billions of property damage. And yeah, look at this. It looks like a war zone. And mind you, we are also entering into the Gulf War. So we are over in Desert Storm, Operation Desert Storm. We're storming with Norman over there. And we have a major city erupting in flames because of a verdict. Okay. Erykah Badu also. What about her? Did she debut in 92? If she did, I wish I could spend time on everything. I have to kind of condense it. So if I missed Erykah Badu, I'm sorry. Maybe I could do I'm working on things where I could do a longer stream and deal with more details. But yeah, I don't know. Did she? Hey there, Shauna Marie. Oh, Sparkling Gems. Yes, love you, Shauna Marie. I forgot you go by Sparkling Gems. Thank you. If you're going by another name, please remind me over here. Okay, so yeah, LA riots. Next slide. Stop the violence. All men were created equal, that says. So you can see more of the chaos and the arrest that ensued. You see the National Guard, militarized police force. It's all there. It's like the same thing. We are now watching such a repeat of history. And because like I was saying before on the other live stream, that a generation is 40 years when you think about it. And if we think in 40-year cycles, there's a lot that happens in the 40 years, and it's a lot of repeating history because we don't learn from our history. And it's like the Israelites in the wilderness just going around in circles for 40 years and dying in the wilderness because they really want to be in Egypt. They love Egypt. We love Egypt too much, and Babylon. And if we had the opportunity to leave, how easy would that be for people? I'm just saying, would we have a hard time leaving this stuff behind? It's just, it's something that I ponder now. And this stuff is so fatiguing. We use the word fatigue right now, and I think that this is the time when the children of the Most High Yah are tired and crying out, Abba, please, your kingdom come. We want to see the kingdom. We want to see it, physical, see it. And Juana's saying history repeats itself because they're doing the same thing over and over again. Yeah, you can see that it doesn't take a lot to repeat history if you have control of the narrative and you have control of the history narrative and all of the mind control. We're getting lessons in real time. Like I was saying on another live stream, we got to see how a lot of people failed a lesson recently. They showed the world that the government is their God, is their nanny, their mama, their daddy. And people crashed out because the government was so-called closed. And when you think again about the word government, that is the governing of your ment, your mind. So if the government is closed, what does that really mean? The mind is closed? Is it dependent on what happens in Washington, D.C.? Everybody woke up the next day and went on about their business and had it did not really affect anyone. Truly, nobody went without. We had safety nets in place, even though we've had a lot of our community break down. We don't have the same kind of safety nets, but even in our state of community breakdown, family breakdown, even in the state of chaos that our nation is currently in, we were still able to make sure nobody starved. Is that true? Did we have starving people? Because I don't think we have starving people truly in this nation. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't think anybody truly starves here in America. We have too many. It's too abundant for anybody to truly starve. You almost have to try to starve here in America. I know they want us to believe that people are starving in certain rural areas, but it's simply not true. We saw it even in the physical evidence of the people that are on government assistance. They don't look like starving people. Nobody looks like they're missing out on a meal here in America. We don't have evidence of it, okay? Everybody's on Ozempic now trying to lose weight. So again, with that period of time, It wasn't a crisis here. We are so blessed in this nation. We have such an abundance. So it's just it's a lot that's happening. I can see. But anyway, let's go to the next slide. I can just stay here talking and talking and talking. Yes. So somebody said, bring back the government cheese. That stuff was good. A lot of people like that, Corin, the government cheese. And people shared that government cheese. I've tasted it for sure. And I can't remember, but I think it was really good. Like it was like Velveeta. I can't believe I used to like Velveeta cheese. Terrible, the food supply that we have here. Starving for real food. Hey, B and Nessing, yes, we are starving for real food. That is a very true statement. We rarely get real food. So, yes, we are starving. Yeah. All right. So in 1992, we got to see something different. We got to see the Korean community in Los Angeles take to the roofs with their AK-47s and all of this artillery. They got up there like they were ninjas, okay? And they were protecting their businesses. And see, this is a real issue that we don't have the honest conversations about this nation, but we're going to have more honest conversations about these things because the way they have opened up the nation here to other nations, and this being a melting pot, we've had a lot of animosity between a lot of different ethnic groups. And some ethnic groups come to America already having their mind made up about people that they don't like. Yet they are in the communities with their businesses and they may not like the customers, the people that were already there. Not, let me tell you, Black Americans who were wrongly identified as African Americans are not African, are indigenous to this nation, and have endured a lot of disrespect from immigrant groups who have not appreciated being in the Black community and making tons of money in the Black community with their hair stores and other stores. We did not have those things when I was growing up in the 70s. We had Black businesses in our Black community. Do you get what I'm saying? And we had cohesive communities, and then all of a sudden they used the Civil Rights Act to then open up the floodgates of immigration. And then the immigrants come in hating Black Americans, having a low opinion already. And it was already fomented before they even got here. But that's the thing that's going to have to be dealt with. And the Most High Yah is going to sort all of this out, because it's been basically an invasion. And there's but so much that a people can take of invaders, especially invaders that have enriched themselves in our community on our ancestral lands, because we cannot be deported. A lot of people have it real twisted, but I'm here to help people understand who we are, because I know people have Black fatigue and all that. I hear you. I have black fatigue, okay? So I'm right there with you, okay? I sure do have black fatigue. But besides all that, there's going to be some cleanup on aisle America. And there's going to be a great sorting out going on because we are hitting a point of inflection where it cannot go on. When the children of the Most High Yah, the tribe of Judah, really starts to cry out, you're going to see some things changing. But I'm looking at this rooftop Korean thing, and it's like militarized people. I know they're protecting their businesses, but their businesses are where? Where are their businesses located? And why is it so much tension going on? How is all this happening? People, I'm just saying now it's time to do this kind of stuff. We have to reflect on how did we get here? There have been a lot, like it goes both ways. Like I can't go to another nation and just disrespect the nation and take from the nation, enrich myself, and have animosity and not want to assimilate, want to fly my own flag from my own nation, and always talk about my nation, my nation. It's like, well, if your nation wasn't a failed state, you wouldn't have had to flee and come to America to become enriched here. We're happy that people can come here and have their dream come true. But it's but so much people that can come. We have an American pie, but it's not going to be eaten up where the people who are really from here only get crumbs left over. That's not fair. And the Most High Yah knows that that's not fair. His children are not going to have crumbs while everybody is eating slices of pie. That's not going to keep going on. Exactly. They push Planned Parenthood. Listen, the whole game is up. The jig is up. We see what has happened. It's no more fooling us, the ones that are waking up to it. It's real obvious what's happened. Because people like the Gen Xers, we lived through this. You can't like gaslight us and tell us that we had all of this hordes of immigration going on in the 70s. Are you kidding? Our country was mainly like white and black. White and black. Tell me I'm lying. And we got along for the most part. If we didn't have people interfering, we were getting along okay. If we didn't like each other, we stayed on our sides. And that's cool. But now it has gotten to the point that no. No more. We've had enough. We can't keep having this kind of stuff go on in our cities. We have got to take these cities and bring order and law to them, period. And the people that don't like it, they're clearly working out of a demonic energy. They're clearly against God. And God will fight them. We don't have to. God is taking care of it in a way that we could never do it. Yes, we've had enough. All right, so let's go to the next slide. You said we didn't get along where you grew up, Jamie. I mean, I'm not saying that it was all kumbaya. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying for the most part, it was okay. It didn't have to be kumbaya. We had to be in each other's faces. You know, a lot of times we just knew, like in Philadelphia, we knew like, okay, the Irish might not like us after a certain amount of time. We're not going to be in their neighborhoods. The Italians might not. We are like Philly is this crazy city. We have all of our ethnic groups that are, in the city. You know where the Italians are. You know where the Irish are. You know where the Polish, the this, the that, the Jewish, the black. But a lot of times we just mixed in. In West Philly, my grandparents' neighborhood, we had Armenians, we had Italians, black. We had a lot of different people. We got along, Somalia is not tamales. What about it? It's not. But I don't know. I think that the racial stuff again is engineered. That's my thing. It's not organic by any stretch. We didn't get, Jamie said, like New York City, Juan. Yeah, New York City is a city of neighborhoods. Hey, Marlon, Jennifer, I just love this show. Oh, I'm so glad you do. Thank you, Marlon. Okay, so let me get back to my points. Okay, so in Los Angeles, you can see that the 4 police officers that were acquitted for beating up Rodney King, that is what set the city ablaze, that acquittal. And it also, it resulted in the police commish, remember Daryl Gates, stepping down. So he stepped down from a long career. You can see Mayor Bradley over there. The LAX is named after Bradley. He was the first black mayor of Los Angeles. So he looks pretty uncomfortable at this press conference. You can see pretty tense city at that time. Yeah. So next slide. Let's see what else is going on in 1992. So we also had a horrible hurricane that swept through Florida. Hurricane Andrew. Do you remember Hurricane Andrew? It really destroyed a lot of Florida, also the Caribbean. And boy, what a terrible amount of destruction. Look at the picture of the woman in the bathtub. I just wanted to show you this picture because it just looks like this woman is unbothered. She's going to take a bath, right? That would be my mother. She would make sure she was taking a bath every day, even if she had to do it this way. So that's why this was funny to me. Yep, that's my mom. So, not trying to laugh at the tragedy here because, boy, a lot of people have not even recovered from some of these hurricanes, truly. And it was traumatic because there were lives that were lost as well, not just property damage. So, a lot going on, and maybe you could put your tinfoil hats on. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to read too much into it at this time. So let's look at the next slide. So hurricane, my goodness, what else? We have a war going on in the Gulf. We have Los Angeles up in flames. And look at this, looky. And this goes to show you again, if we're looking at a generation, 40 years, and I'm doing a 60-year retrospective, we can't go back into another loop of, look at this. We had Operation Restore Hope. And this was a U.S. military intervention in Somalia. And this was, and it says, and the Battle of Mogadishu. So we have troops on the ground in Somalia to bring hope. I don't know what was going on. If anybody understands what was really going on, because I don't want to look at the narrative. I'm sure it's not true. Being at peace no matter what. Oh, I didn't get to read that. Sorry. Being at peace No matter what's going on around you is key. That's right, Dave. If you can do that, exactly. Yes, those. So we had the whole Mogadishu thing going on, and now we have this issue in the twin cities of uh, St. Paul, Minneapolis, and it's strange what's happening in that area of the country, that state, Minnesota. The governor, Tim Walz, who almost became the vice president if they had their way, is embroiled right now in so much scandal. It's really interesting to watch. So that place has become Somalia, basically. And I don't know what is happening with the connection here, because now we are entering into the Clinton years. So we know that Bill Clinton was up to a lot of shenanigans. So this is something that I guess is being handed off by Papa Bush. So Papa Bush and the Clintons are all buddies. So they're going to continue their operations and, seamlessly without interruption. So that's interesting that Somalia is still an issue for us. If you have, again, any decoded understanding of what's going on with the Somali people here in America. All right, next slide, please. So we have also Mr. George Soros. This man, we've heard his name a lot. A lot of us are real familiar with this man. And his son now, who has pretty much taken the family business over, or he's working with his dad for the most part until dad passes on. But they call George Soros in 1992, he did a banking maneuver, and they say he is the man who broke the Bank of England. So he did some maneuvering with silver and different things, and he created a situation where they say he broke the Bank of England. So if this man can break the Bank of England, what else can he do? And what else is he going to break? So this is the rise of George Soros, I would say. And just in time for the Clintons. Isn't that convenient? Or like Dr. Umar says, don't you find that suspicious? Next slide. Look at him dealing and wheeling. All right, let's look at the jailbirds of 1992. I should have a little bird flying off. All right, with a key in its beak. I'll maybe work on that. I'm starting to learn animation, everybody. I'm practicing. I'm having fun learning it. Okay, so the jailbirds of 1992. We have Leona Helmsley. Do you remember Leona Helmsley? She was a billionaireess, and she had the Helmsley Hotel, and oh my goodness, very interesting stuff. This woman, she left her billions to her cat, didn't she? She pulled a real fast one on her children if she had them. She left it to the cat, and the cat lived as a billionaire for the rest of the cat's 9 lives. Lived in a penthouse up in the New York skyline. Can you imagine? The cat became a billionaire. Only in America, right? So we have Leona Helmsley went to jail. So her mugshot, look at her mugshot. You could tell she's wealthy. That is so funny. She's dressed to the nines and she looks like she owns a hotel, right? She's holding her. Oh my goodness. I think 1992 was a portal of some sort, a ridiculous portal. Okay, so we have uh, Mrs. Helmsley went to the clink for tax evasion, of course, right? Then we have who's this other guy? Noriega, isn't that Noriega? Wait, let me get all of my bad boys straight, because they look, sometimes they don't look like I think in their youth. Okay, I think this is Noriega. No, do you all know what bad guy this is? Oh, it's Escobar. Pablo. How can I say the other Noriega? Of course it's, yes, wait, Wyoming chick. Oh, yes, Leona was, oh my goodness, I forgot. They called her the meanest woman to work for. Oh my goodness, the stories. Karen could probably tell us stories about Leona. She might have even come in contact with Leona. Yeah, she was the meanest woman. Oh boy, all of the stories that would be told about this woman. How can you leave money to a pet? You can leave your money to anything, I think. Definitely a lot of animals have inherited fortunes. So you can. It's up to you. Yeah, so it's not uncommon. A few people have done it. A rich cat, yes. Okay, so I think, who else's cat? No, I'll think of it. I'll think of it. Another cat that was left. Okay, so Pablo Escobar, he escaped from prison. So that was interesting. And then we have, do you remember the Long Island Lolita? Remember Amy Fisher? We're going to talk about her a little bit. Amy Fisher was locked up in 1992. And also John Gotti. He was sentenced to a life sentence. And I believe they had to try him a lot. He was called the Teflon Don because every time the feds tried to stick charges on him, he would slip the charges. I guess he would win the cases. And of course, that's not the thing you want to do with the feds. You don't want to keep winning cases. So they finally kept at it, and they were able to get him. I think that was him, where he kept winning the cases. But yeah, the Teflon Don finally got, let's see, how many years? Was it life? Let's see. Teflon Don. Hold it. My oh my. What a group of baddies, huh? When I look at that. What a group of baddies. Oh my. I don't see it. Oh no, Gotti. Yeah, I said John Gotti. Okay, John Gotti was found, maybe the story about, yeah, I did say that. He was a Teflon Don. 5 murders. He was guilty, sentenced to conspiracy to murder, loan sharking, illegal gambling, obstruction of justice, bribery, and tax evasion. So they got him on all of that. I think a life sentence. And he died in jail. Yeah. Or prison, rather. All right. So let's go to the next slide. Sharon, hey, welcome. Thanks for joining. So those are our jailbirds. And let's kind of look at this this case right here, because this was one of the biggest things of 1992. Do you remember Amy Fisher and John? So you remember, yeah, John. What a lot of really baddies. Okay, so we have the lethal Lolita, Amy Fisher, out of Long Island, New York. So Amy Fisher and Joey Buttafuoco. Remember Joey Buttafuoco? I couldn't have been in the news business around that time. You had to keep saying Joey Buttafuoco Can you remember how ridiculous and oh, the comedy that came out of this period, this incident? It was unending. Saturday Night Live had a blast. So we have Joey Buttafuoco and Amy Fisher, the Lolita of Long Island. What a headline. And every time you looked up, there was another movie made for television about this Amy Fisher story. And it seemed to be battling Amy Fishers. We have our Drew Barrymore, our beloved Drew Barrymore playing Amy Fisher. And then we have our beloved at one time, Alyssa Milano, who has gone full cuckoo on Twitter X. Have you seen how she turned out? Unbelievable. Alyssa Milano. Yes, so we have, I don't know who made the best Amy Fisher, Alyssa Milano or Drew Barrymore. My goodness. Yes, I had a relative who did time with her, Amy Fisher. Oh my. Wow. What a story I bet she has to tell. So yeah, so we have that story. Next slide. My goodness. Yes, the jokes never stopped on Buttafuoco's, right? Everything was Joey Buttafuoco. Look at them, the love, Joey Buttafuoco and his wife. His poor, long-suffering wife, right? Her name, what happened, okay, for anybody, let me get the tea on, I don't want to make anything up and have to say allegedly. Let's see, what is the Amy Fisher? I'm going to give you the tea on Amy Fisher and Joey Buttafuoco. And this is his long-suffering wife, like I said. Okay, so this is 1992, everyone. This American woman, she was 17. She shot, or should I say pow-powed? She pow-powed and severely wounded Mary Jo Buttafuoco's, the wife of Joey Buttafuoco's, who had initiated a sexual relationship with the underage Fisher. She was a child, okay? They like to say underage. So Buttafuoco, okay, I'm getting to understand a little bit more. Buttafuoco started messing with this girl, they're saying in this Wikipedia. So he was messing with her in 1990. Yeah, she was a child. He was how old? How old was Buttafuoco? They're not giving his age. Okay, so he's having Buttafuoco later would be charged with statutory R word, as they say on this platform, to which he pleaded guilty and served 4 months in prison. Initially charged with first-degree attempted unaliving, Fisher eventually pleaded guilty to first-degree aggravated assault and served 7 years in prison. Due to her age and relationship with a much older man, wow, they're saying much older, she became known in the tabloid media as the Long Island Lolita. Fisher was paroled in 1999 and became a writer and a webcam model and a pornographic actress. A pornographic actress. I'm done. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. So let's keep going. So you see his wife here, Mary Jo. She got pow-powed by the Long Island Lolita. All right. And she stuck with Joey Buttafuoco for a while. I don't know if they're still together. I don't know if they're even alive. But let's keep going. Next slide. Hey, Bass. Bass is the place. Welcome from Michigan. Oh, nice to see you. How's it over there in Michigan where you are? You said 40s, I think. 40s. I'm not sure. Let me see. Hey. All right. So we have a book in 1992 that was really popular called The Age of Spiritual Machines by Ray Kurzweil. Now, Ray Kurzweil, he predicted the coming of artificial intelligence back in 1992. So isn't that interesting, of course, so-called? A lot of us believe that this technology, of course, is just being trickled out to us. Let me see what else it says about Ray Kurzweil. Are you all familiar with his work? Do you read his books? Let's see. What does it say about? It's hiding from me. Okay, the age of the intelligent machines. So he predicted, he was a prophet of the popularity of the internet and AI. And we also have in 1992 AT&T, they've released a video telephone. Did you know that? Or did you know anybody, or did you have the video telephone? It was only $1,499 if you wanted it back in 1992. Who were you going to talk to on the video phone unless somebody else has a phone for $1,500? Can you believe AT&T? My goodness. So you see grandma over there talking to the grandchildren. Oh my goodness. I can't believe them. All right. So next slide, please. So that's the technology of 1992. So here we are. We are now being graced with the presidency of the Clintons. And I'm saying the Clintons because we know that the little demure Hillary, look at Hills. I'm not going to lie. Back then, I thought Hills was really a pretty, suburban mom looking first lady. I thought they were a cute couple. I was excited. I thought something good would come out of this. I can't say I voted for him, but I was hopeful that something good. He seemed like maybe a young JFK. Maybe we were going to have Camelot or something, right? I don't know. I'm trying to think. What was I thinking? Well, I thought she looked like a cute little school teacher. She was a lawyer, of course. We learned she looks very demure. Look at the suit and the hair. She wore the hair. What is that called? Why am I forgetting the thing? Because she had lots of them. She looks like she stepped out of a Talbot's, Talbot catalog, or what other catalog? Pottery, no, not Pottery Barn. What are some other stores that Hillary looks like such a corporate? Somebody says you voted for Mr. Clinton. Sheridan voted for Mr. That's okay, Sheridan. He looked very promising, and they really called him the first black president. Okay, let's talk about it. Bill Clinton was christened the first black president by two black women. I think, was it Maya Angelou? Wait a minute. I want to get the right thing here because we're not going to let them off the hook. Clinton, first black president. Did you all know that he was called the first black president? And I think there's a reason okay, Clinton was referred to, see, I'm telling you, I'm remembering this. Bill Clinton was referred to as the first black president by author Toni Morrison, who noted that he embodied certain characteristics associated with black culture. So that says a lot about black culture because we know now the character of Bill Clinton as we are looking in retrospect. We did not know a lot about him in 1992. But now to think that Toni Morrison, who's supposed to be a bright and shining star in the Black community, would give away an identity so easily to a man who just embodies characteristics associated with Black culture. That's really a loaded right there. That's a lot. And it's coming from Toni Morrison again. However, this characterization was not meant as a literal statement about his race, but rather a commentary on the scrutiny he faced during his presidency, particularly regarding the Lewinsky scandal. Do you see how they twisted that? That is a clear example of the type of games and playing in our face that happened during this Clinton period era. Lots of corruption, deception, and just all around wickedness. This couple, well, they had been involved in a lot of shenanigans in Arkansas. So we had, I guess we started hearing about it after he had been in the White House, and this stuff started to really come out about this guy. If we had the internet back then, he probably would not have won, because he had a lot of scandal coming out of Arkansas. So again, remember Hillary made a lot of nasty comments about, wait a minute, let me get what she was a nasty one. Continues to be a nasty. So what did she say about women that stayed home? She used to say a lot of okay, what was this? I'm sorry. I'm seeing a lot of funny things. Well, what was there? Hold it. Does anybody remember what Hillary said about women back then? Because you could say Hillary is the final girl boss. She wore the boot. She would be the final girl boss. Like when you look at her, she is a yuppie. This is the yuppie archetype of the woman who is so ambitious. She is climbing the corporate ladder, and she's doing it in her suit. Look at her power suit. Okay, wait. Hillary Clinton said, quote, I suppose I could have stayed home and baked cookies and had teas, but what I decided to do was to fulfill my profession, which I entered before my husband was in public life. Doesn't that sound like a defensive answer for why she doesn't stay at home and bake cookies and have teas? Wow. Her profession. So that is, again, like I said, her mentality, her archetype is the girl boss, the mean girl, the girl boss, treacherous. So yeah, Bill Clinton, he put a spell on the Black minds in America. He played this saxophone, and I think he did some magic. He's a warlock. He did something warlocky with that saxophone, and it put a spell on people. You put a spell on us, Bill. Yes. Yes. Beth is saying, was the nail in the coffin? Well, yes, it was. For anybody that doesn't know about that right there, I'm not going to say it. I'm trying to stay within this thing, I've been censored since 2020. I'm trying to stay good on the censorship front. Okay, so Bill Clinton, the first Black president, according to Toni Morrison, played the saxophone, put us under a spell. Hillary Clinton, girl boss, final girl boss. Yep. Next slide. Look at that. Look at that. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Looks better in his blue dress for Jeffy. Can you imagine that we would see that later? Oh my goodness. But look at the love story between these two yuppies. No, yeah, they are true yuppies, these two. They would fall into the boomer yuppie. Look at them in their youth. You can just see this was the spirit of the times. Think about this. The yuppies, they're selfish. They're just ambitious, blind ambition. Yes. Yep, Beth. But yeah, look at her headbands. I couldn't think of headbands. All of Hillary's headbands. And she was an angry lady a lot because she said that's all people cared about was her hair. And we've had Michelle Obama also complain that it was always about her hair and how she looked. But that's comes with that job, that the territory is to be under scrutiny as the first lady. But so she did the headbands. I don't think she liked to do it, but she looked so preppy, right? Yeah, totally preppy, yuppie Hillary. Who would have thought that we would have the Hillary that we have today? Wow. Okay, so they're good actors. And Hillary did a good act. Look at her in that picture. She's holding on to Bill and she's being the dutiful wife. I'm standing by my man and protecting him. And they did a good job with this imaging, I would say. Very good, very good, good acting. Next slide. And they have cookies now named after Hillary. So people trolled her after her comments. And of course, we had a woman come through with red. Lady in red came, not so fast, Bill. What about me and our 12-year affair? So this became the fodder of the tabloids. A lady named Jennifer, and she would spell her name with a G. I don't know who does this and where they do this, but she had to be different. And she spells Jennifer Geniffer, I think. Jennifer. Jennifer Flowers came through with story time on Bill. And they were having this 12-year affair. And she had tapes. So this is we're now in the era of the videotapes. Remember, the camcorder had just come in. So we're going to now have blackmail on people. Easy blackmail. So Jennifer Flowers, I never looked into her too much, but I think all the women that were sent at Bill were all honeypots. I think we could pretty much agree to that. So let's look at the next slide. So yeah, Jennifer slid on in to get her payday. And we have, of course, a young child in the White House, and that's always nice. I think that's what makes the presidency seem more like a family affair when they have children that are young and you can, watch them do the family optics. So we have, what is her name? Clinton. What's this chick's name? The Clinton kid. I forget her name. Chelsea, sorry. Chelsea Clinton. Look at that hair. You talk about hair. I remember it was always a lot of conversations about Chelsea's hair. And if you look at her hair, I'm just saying, don't get mad at me, but Chelsea looks like she's a little bit, something's going on here with the hair. But that's the thing that, okay, I'm being funny. but not really. That was something, I think it was, what's her name? Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly, I really enjoy listening to Megyn Kelly. And she was talking about the recent comment from Michelle Obama about her hair, and she was calling out white people and saying that it's because of white people that we have to straighten our hair so that we can whatever fit into assimilate into white society, I guess. And she was just saying we don't swim because of our hair and leave us alone. And it was just weird. She was talking to Tracy Ellis Ross, who is Diana Ross's daughter, and she was laughing. It just seemed really fake because she's a mixed woman, so she's acting, whatever. Her hair is the preference. It's considered to be the most beautiful kind of hair, but she's laughing. It's awkward, the whole thing. But one of the things that Megyn Kelly said that I was really pleased to know that she understands a lot of the nuance, and I think a lot of you do as well. A lot of you white people, you understand a lot of cultural nuances and things that in terms of ethnic features. And what Megyn said is basically coarse hair or curly hair, nappy hair, whatever you want to call it. It is not a racial, it's not only a racial characteristic of a racial thing. It's all races have that propensity expression of hair texture. I met a young Asian child once who had an afro, and when I was wearing an afro at the time, and we took pictures, and it was so cute because I think he was Korean. Yeah, Korean. And he had the cutest afro, and it was really coarse, his hair. And he just wore it in a bit. He just let it do what it's going to do. And it just goes to show you, Megyn understands that coarse hair is just not a racial thing. It happens with a lot of people. A lot of people I knew growing up, Italian girls I knew in Philly, they would straighten their hair with a straightening comb or put relaxer in their hair. A lot of Jewish women, same thing. So it's kind of like ridiculous, the whole thing, right? But look at Chelsea's hair. I would say something's going on with that hair texture. Very interesting. Yeah. She might have to do things with her hair like relaxers and stuff. But also I want to talk about something that was said about Bill Clinton, that it's unfortunate if it's true. I'm not sure, but supposedly he has a half black son who came forward and gave this account of his mother having had an affair with Bill. And I think Bill sent money to the woman up to a certain point in time. And I think the rumor was that Hillary stopped it. She didn't want the assistance going to the son and just wanted to have him cut off. That was what they said about this story. I'm not sure if this is his son, but if you look at the pictures side by side, it is very, I don't know. It is kind of like the Jay-Z thing, when you have the Jay-Z son and you do a side by side and you're like, I don't know. It looks kind of, I need Maury. Where is Maury when you need him? Webb Hubble's daughter. He must have had fluffy hair as well as that. Yeah, those lips. I mean, I forgot. Yeah, she's got the lips and the hair. Look at her. But yeah, I've heard that Webb Hubble, a lot of people believe that is possibly Chelsea's father. So she's got maybe something going on like that. That's why he was considered the first black. Yeah, maybe that is why. Maybe Toni Morrison was spilling the tea in a back way of letting us know that maybe, yeah, maybe Bill, yes, look at that. So you say same teeth. Hey, I don't know, but it is fascinating. So we could have possibly had, more than one Clinton child who could have maybe come to the White House maybe sometimes if. Let's see. Sheridan says, I saw a movie once played by John Travolta, loosely based on Bill Clinton. This particular of him having an affair with a black woman. Oh, was in it. Yeah. It was really like very seedy how they hooked up from the story. Really. Okay. Next slide. And people, you can't keep a secret a long time. So a lot of his Secret Service, they slipped and told some things about Bill and his years in Arkansas. Okay, so did you know that Bill and Hillary, this is just a little side note, Bill and Hillary Clinton, they delayed their honeymoon and they took a trip to Haiti back in December of 1975, the narrative goes. And this was arranged by a banker friend. And the trip included a visit to a voodoo ceremony, which Bill Clinton later described as a profound experience. So, we heard a lot of in the back channels about spirituality and the Clintons, especially more so Hillary. But it could be Bill as well because he spent time at the Epstein Island. And Epstein Island had a temple. And they have said that inside that temple, they did practice a form of spirituality. And it was a lot going on that island. But this is a religion that they are a part of. And some of those emails that Hillary had on her laptop, or they were being sent between her and who was it, John Podesta and different people, they were talking about Moloch and making sacrifices to Moloch. So these people are into dark arts. You said, Corinne says she's pretty in that picture. What happened? I agree. I may not like Hillary now, but I can at least say what you're saying. She's a pretty woman. She was a pretty woman at one time. Yeah, I think she was pretty when she was younger. What happened to her is she started to be inhabited, in my opinion, devils messing around with stuff that you shouldn't mess around with. And it starts to it starts to rob people of their beauty. That's my opinion. So let's look at the next slide. But yeah, that's their wedding, and they honeymooned in Haiti and went to a voodoo ceremony. Can you imagine? Okay, so in 1992, the ASPCA, the American Society of, what is it? Of, the Animal Humane Society, but the SPCA, they put a case in to stop the practice of animal sacrifice in Santeria. So can you imagine? They were able to stop a big ceremony where they were going to sacrifice a lot of animals. This was in New York City, and the what is it? ASPCA, they stopped this. So, like I said about the Clintons and the voodoo, and we have lots of people in our nation that practice Santeria, and they sacrifice lots of animals, and they do You see the Catholic saints, and if you know anything about this practice, they interchange the spirits and give the Catholic, they say, to hide the religion and look like it's being it's Catholic, I guess, a Catholic ceremony. But yeah, next slide. We have a lot going on here in America, people. It's just wow. And we also had in 1992 Sinead O'Connor, the Irish rocker. It looked like she dissociated. She was on Saturday Night Live, and it had to be planned. It wasn't something spontaneous, but she took the picture of the Pope and she said something about him. I don't remember what she said, but she tore his picture up live on television. And of course, that did not go over very well. And she became a pariah in the industry for a bit. And yeah, so she did that live. And let's look at the next slide. I think she had a reality show for a minute. I watched something with her. Also in 1992, the Catholic Church made an apology to Galileo, the astronomer. Can you imagine? The Catholic Church apologized to Galileo after 359 years. And they said that he was right about the earth revolving around the sun. So they made an apology to Galileo. Is that weird? So they are confirming heliocentrism and basically not aligning with what the Bible says about the cosmology of the earth. So that's interesting. So that was 1992. Wow. Nothing new under the sun. Next slide. Yeah, isn't that suspicious, Corinne? Help me decode it, everybody. I need your minds helping me to figure this stuff out. Okay, so in 1992, they had a memorial erected in Salem to honor the witch trials that happened in Salem. And if you look at some of the names in this memorial, the year is 16. So it's like 1600s. And that's fascinating. So this is in memory of those innocents who died during the Salem Village witchcraft hysteria of, does it say 1692? Wait a minute. Hold it. So has anybody gone to this memorial? Anybody? I find it fascinating. I bet if I looked into this, it would connect to a lot of things. Okay, so especially timeline wise, especially seeing the year 16, we don't see a lot of 16 something. We usually see a lot of 1700s and 1800s, but to see 1600s on, dated. And I know that they say it's an I, the one is really an I, but yeah, I'm sure it's just so much to this story. If you know anything, let me know, because I've never done a deep dive on the Salem witch trials. But a memorial was erected in 1992. Corinne, you said, I bet it's a sad place. Yeah, it probably has some strange energy. I would not like to go there to visit, but I would like to see what is behind the history, maybe, and just what it might connect to. So let's look at the next slide. So we have the breaking up of Yugoslavia. And you can see Croatia, Bosnia, Serbia, Montenegro, Montenegro. Okay, I'm not going to be silly, but I know you guys are not touchy about that stuff, but it's fascinating. Look at the faces of the people that come from this part of the world. Now, Bill Clinton came in as a globalist puppet. So you can look at the timing, which is very suspicious of a lot of the new crafting of nations. So you have a big nation, Yugoslavia, being broken up into how many different nations and ethnic groups. What is behind all of this? I did not pay attention to the details, so I don't understand what happened in this area. I have met a lot of wonderful people that come from this area. We also know that doesn't the first lady come from somewhere? Let me see. Where is she from again? Let me see. Hold it. Melania. I just haven't looked at it in a while. Where is she from? Okay, she is Slovenian. So we can, where's Slovenia? I don't see Slovenia. So maybe this isn't the area that she's from. Okay, so she's from Slovenia. Okay, I don't understand how all of these nations got partitioned out. But 1992, with Bill Clinton coming in, he was going to spearhead a lot of this stuff, and they're going to craft and cut up the nations and do what they've always done. This is nation craft, and it is very suspicious. And especially when you start having things called ethnic cleansings and civil wars. So this, to me, when I look at the faces of the people from this area, when you talk about white and black and these color categories, you can see how none of it is making sense when you really look at it. And you can see it on the black side, the so-called black side, where there are ethnic differences, and we are learning that. I don't know a lot of the ethnic differences within the white people group, as well as you all may not know about a lot of the ethnic differences between the melanated people. But we're not all the same, like flat black, just as you all are not flat white, because there are different types of white. You see, it's a range of white, if you want to say just looking at skin color. But look at how, I just want us to look at these faces and just look at it in terms of just these categories that we call ourselves. Because again, on the black side of this black and white chessboard, whatever, the Africans, they may look like the so-called African Americans, but we're not the same ethnically. We're different tribes, if you want to say, different clans, and our bloodlines are very unique. African American was, again, I know I repeat this a lot, but sometimes it bears repeating. African American was started in the 80s by the shyster, the Reverend Jesse Messi Jackson. He did this. I don't know who put him up to it. I can only guess, but I'm sure he made a lot of money. It enriched him. Meanwhile, his identity, from what I've heard, is indigenous American, like Cherokee. And he made sure he sold his people out to be called African American. And what it did was it allowed for the invasion of immigration from so-called black nations. So you see what I'm saying? And you suddenly see a lot of black immigrants from Haiti, from the Caribbean, from African nations in America, and they're being called black, a flat black. But ethnically, we are not the same. You see? So it goes to the same thing as white. Ethnically, you all are not the same here in America as the so-called white people from these areas. It's fascinating. So let's just look at the people from this area. Next slide. And I don't know how many ethnicities there are in this region, but look at the bodies that are all piled up from the war that tore these nations, these people apart. And you know what is going on with how they stir up these wars all over and the hatred. You say, let's see, you are Italian and Irish. You're called white, but yeah, you see how white, like a color doesn't give you the information about where a person is from. When you say a land, a nation, a color is not going to point you in that direction, but Italian will let me know where you're from. Irish, I know you're from Ireland. But white, I don't know where you're from if you tell me you're white. But it goes the same with black. Black does not tell you where I'm from. And if you bring other so-called black people over here to mix in and all be called the same thing in the same category, it erases my ethnicity. You see? That's what they've been doing to my people, I know. They've been attempting, I'll say, because they're not going to succeed anymore with it. But they ran a mind psyop on us where we were so confused about our identity. But the most high Yah is being very gracious right now to reveal things to us. So we are knowing in real time. We're getting it from the source directly. So don't worry. We're not making this stuff up. But it is high time we start telling the truth. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, these things can be deadly. People have bloodlines, they have ancestors, they have history, and some people have receipts. They know who their great grandmothers and grandfathers are, like me, myself. I know how far I go back in this nation. But this is look at the man holding the tiger. I was like, whoa, what's going on? Like, what's the story behind that? What a look, right? But just look at these poor people. They're just wandering. They're refugees. So let's see the next slide. Black to Africa. You said black to Africa. Right. I mean, some people think that my people can be deported. We can't be deported. Where are you going to deport us to? There's nowhere we are just here. This is our beginning right here. Our motherland is America, right? It's going to become real clear soon. All right. So again, look at these ethnic, I guess they're Bosnians, all of these different nations, the Balkans. They call them the Balkan states. But again, these are various groups. They may look similar, but they're not. So you say Melanie, I believe, is someone a lot of us, we believe she's very special. And those places where she's from, and those are beautiful places. They are, it looks like heaven on earth. Where Melania is from, I met a woman who is from Slovenia, and she showed me pictures of it is, like I said, it looks like heaven on earth. When it's not war torn or anything, some of the little villages and hamlets and stuff, amazing. So let's look at the next slide. Yeah, neighbors killing neighbors. It's really unfortunate. But you can look at the trauma in the faces. And again, I didn't know a lot about the details of these Balkan wars as they were going on, but I remember just hearing in the background, it was always something just really unfortunate. And look at them just walking. It's just the same thing. And it's like, we need peace. We need really like stability so that people can feel safe in their lands and be left alone by these narcissist politicians, and just let people thrive and rebuild. But I might again have this pie in the sky. My dreams and my hopes are really based on the Most High Yah. And I believe every nation on earth is going to be restored to order so that the people can start sorting out and feeling at home in their own lands. Because I would love for everybody to thrive, and we can trade among our international neighbors, but definitely in a fair trade way where, individuals can make their own trade agreements and stuff. I'm just saying, I can see that. Let's see, what are you saying? The word white, neighbors kill it. Well, the word white being used as a description of race came in 1790 in the Naturalization Act. Thank you, Karen. Exactly. This stuff is new. Nobody called each other white and black before that time. You were in Yugoslavia in 1988. So gorgeous. There you are. Now, I was over in Italy around that time. I was in Milan, and my roommate that traveled with me, she was from New York State, and she went to Yugoslavia a lot. And she just said the beaches were so beautiful, and she wanted to meet a husband over in Yugoslavia. And I understand now, like, she was older than me. She was like reaching 30, and she kept telling me, well, Jennifer, because I'm 19, and she's almost 30, and because we modeled the Ebony Fashion Fair, and we went over to Milan, and we were roommates, and she would dip off and go to Yugoslavia, and she just said to me she was looking for a husband. She was seriously looking for a husband. But now I'm seeing, that's interesting, she wanted a husband from that part of the world. So she knew something, because she had a plan. So I hope she's happy wherever you are, DJ. I hope you're happy with your Yugoslavian husband. I lost touch with her. She disappeared. Okay, so next slide. Story time. Excuse me. Also, we had our dream team. Look at how wonderful we used to enjoy our basketball games, and our players used to be reasonable. Of course, they had egos, but it was nothing like the narcissism that we see today. You said, yes, the beaches on the Adriatic are so pristine. Yeah, people don't know how beautiful that part of the world is, but it's truly, like I said, it looks like heaven. But yeah, so our basketball team in 1992, we won against Cuba. So we beat the commies. Sorry, my Cuban family, sorry, but I'm American first. So yeah, I just love that. When I look at the older guard of basketball player, they were statesmen, they were classy. You don't see tattoos, you see clean cut men, and we're going back to that. You're going to start to see the culture go back to the clean cut. um, the young men are, it's like a spiritual awakening. They're just suddenly wanting to be clean cut, and I believe it's a spirit, and I thank the Most High Yah for it, because we need to get back to a standard and a code of conduct that is civilized. So we are seeing it happen with our young people, and maybe they'll stop wearing all these tattoos and piercings and hair. We start having haircuts again, clean, nice haircuts. So yeah, we're gonna start seeing it. Mark my word. But yeah, okay. Next, you saw the Globetrotters. Oh, I bet that was fun. All right, next slide, please. Harlem Globetrotters. That's right, the Harlem Globetrotters. And this 1992 was the year that we saw the birth of reality television. Now, this has a real big impact on our culture and how we started to view reality, because this is scripted reality. And it was a social experiment, and it was the birth of all of this reality television that we see today. And you could see the original cast. I remember a lot of them, Heather B. and all of them. One of them, I think, died of AIDS. So he had AIDS, and, they were starting to craft the identity, I would think, of my generation around this time. And they were getting us comfortable with certain things, and taking stigmas away where we were just being conditioned. So this is a big social psyop here, to put all of these people in one house and film them like a voyeur. So it's a voyeuristic thing. And I know it's done a lot of mental damage to us as a people. So MTV was pushing this real world, the real world. Next slide. And also mommy culture that we have, like, it's gone crazy, out of control. Mommy culture kind of started with the Baby on Board, with the performative baby announcing stuff. So Baby on Board was supposed to tell any drivers around your suburban minivan to stay away, right? And to drive like you have some sense, which isn't a bad message, but you can see the mommy culture. This, whoever invented the Baby on Board little sticker thing, they made a lot of money. This was real popular. I don't see it anymore. Do you ever see the Baby on Board? I don't think anybody cares. Our society has become so callous that I don't think they care. But in 1992, what's ironic is that we see this mommy culture, performative stuff, and we also had a big march on Washington to keep abortion. So look at that. Very extreme. Keeping abortion legal. Look at that. The Astrovan. There you are. So there's the rise in the mommy vans, soccer moms. Next slide. We have Madonna poisoning our culture. She has done so much damage to our culture. They say that Madonna is a high witch, and she has put a bad spell. it has to be reversed because she opened the floodgates for the horror culture, the rise of the harlot. And she did something in 1992 that when I think about it, it was like setting off a bomb in the culture. So she had a coffee table book called Sex. And this edition, it's like it looks like metal. I think it was steel or something on the cover, but inside the book it had to be wrapped up because it's pornography. Really hard, some of it hardcore. So she was pushing the boundaries so much. And she had an album also come out called Erotica to go along with the book. And you know that Madonna has taken children from an African nation. And from what I heard when they started to bring light to how she got these children out of Africa, they initially took her to task, and they did not want her to take those children out of their country because they felt that she was a bad example of a person to adopt their children based on this book right here. They said she had no morals, but she did some trickery to get these children. It's a terrible thing that I read what she did, but she will have to pay for that. She's going to have to deal with God because she is way out of line. So you have Madonna and her terrible cultural anti-culture, antichrist culture. Jezebel spirit. Yeah, there you are. She unleashed a Jezebel spirit. So let's see, next slide. And you know, they have that whole Marilyn Monroe programming because she looks like Marilyn Monroe in that picture. So a lot of them are put under that Marilyn Monroe sex kitten programming. Now, I have to admit that, no, Corinne, I loved Madonna. Don't worry. You don't have to feel like I loved Madonna at first when she was cutesy, you know, Holiday and all that borderline. Until I knew borderline. Why are we singing about borderline? But no, she was cute. Her energy seemed pop and innocent at first, but she progressively turned more corrupt as she became more famous. You know, fame is a terrible drug. But I have to admit right here, I love British comedy, Britcoms, and Absolutely Fabulous. Me and my cousins, this is one of our guilty pleasures. We used to love watching. They may still watch it, but I don't watch Absolutely Fabulous anymore. But I used to love this show. And it is really a twisted, dark comedy. Has anybody else watched Absolutely Fabulous? Do you love it also? I love it, darling. What are some? I can't even remember some of the funny things. She's sweetie, darling, right? Sweetie, darling, I love. I used to love it. Okay, all right, let's go. Next slide. They debuted in 1992. Okay, so this is an interesting part of damn feminist movement. All right, so this right here is up my alley. I love the Antiquitech. All right, so we have in 1992 the release of what they call, well, it's like a certain light bulb from the old world tech. I would love for this to be released again. But these light bulbs last for 20 years, okay? So tell me, would you like to have a light bulb that lasts 20 years? And what is this all about? Light bulbs that last 20 years. You know, they have a light bulb that I think lasted for about 100 years. Oh, Kids in the Hall. Oh no, you're getting dark. You're getting dark. I did watch a little Kids in the Hall. It was a lot of really dark comedy. So, E lamps, they're called E lamps. The 20-year light bulb was introduced in 1992. So I wonder, why did they introduce this and I don't know anything about it. Did you know that they had a 20-year light bulb introduced in the 90s? And why did they stop? All right. So more questions I'll have to look into. But I love old technology again. All right, next slide. So I want to end on this right here. Like I was saying, there is no flat white when it comes to people, because there are people, I talked about these people that live in the far north. And I believe we have a brother from this region of the world. When I had my old channel, he used to come, remember, in the chatmosphere, and he would leave me the most awesome messages. But he is from these people. These are his people, I believe. And he was teaching, about his people, and they're beautiful people. And I'm fascinated when you look at the ethnic clothing of the, now let me tell you, these are people from an ancient line. They are the Sami people, and I might be saying it wrong, the Sami people. They are far northern Nordic people. And in 1992, they officially did a cultural celebration of their culture. So I just wanted us to look at them. Finland, yes. So more of the old Finland. And I'm just amazed at this. So again, when we look at this whole white and black, it's not a flat thing. And we just have to really get over it, because I don't even think they would accept, these people right here, I don't think they would accept being called white. They would probably look at you really strange, like, what are you talking about? I'm not white. They know who they are. They have a very rich lineage. So yeah, Finland, you're right. That's right. Finland. So let's look at the next slide, please. I just love the cultural, the attire. So we can look at some of the pictures from the 1800s. And when you look at the Sami people, you can just see this Nordic, just fascinating. And I'm just fascinated with True North going up to yonder. And I'm just thinking, just wow, look at the beauty. I just wanted us to just take it in a little bit. Next slide. I think, do I have another one? Or this might be it for the slides. Is that it? Yes, that's it. So here we are. I could have talked about so much more. So, oh my God, Jose Canseco, he rammed his Porsche into his wife's BMW, and he was having a lot of accidents. Mike Tyson was R-wording people, getting in trouble. And it was something really weird that also happened. Ben Vereen, do you remember Ben Vereen? He and the music producer, what's his name? This was really weird. I don't remember this happening. But Ben Vereen and what's his name? Ben Vereen. 1 minute. Yeah, and David Foster. The music producer David Foster. They had an accident. Ben Vereen was hit by David Foster, I believe, who was behind the wheel. They were in a terrible accident, but that was weird that two celebrities are in an accident. I thought it was strange. The final episode of The Cosby Show. And they claim that they may have found the skeletons of the Tsar and Tsarina of Russia, they think. Wayne's World began. The body of Haile Selassie, the remains, they say, were found on the grounds of the imperial palace under the private lavatory. I thought that was pretty disrespectful, very strange. Jeffrey Dahmer pleaded insane. Japan apologized for Korean women in sex slavery during World War I. Desiree Washington accused Mike Tyson, who was found guilty of raping her. Mariel Hemingway was nude on TV. Thought she came from a good family. Cartoon Network debuted. The Airbus, for the aviation people, the Airbus took a test flight. Carol Moseley Braun was the first Black Senate woman in the Senate. And then Feinstein was also elected. Bobby Fischer beat the Russian Boris Spassky. And they said this was the revenge match of the 20th century. We had The Bodyguard debut. There was a fire in Windsor Castle, right? There was Ruby Ridge, an 11-day siege, and Vicky Weaver was shot by FBI. There was a ballet dancer in New York City, Peter Martins, who was arrested for beating his wife. Who would have thought that a ballerina would beat his wife? Isn't that weird? We kept hearing on the news the name Boutros Ghali. Boutros. Remember, I was so tired of hearing Boutros Ghali. So he was the UN guy, and we had to constantly hear about him. And remember Crazy Eddie? Remember the guy Crazy Eddie? Crazy Eddie was involved in a stock fraud scheme for $74 million, and he was caught in Israel. That was pretty. Ross Perot gave a speech to the NAACP, and he said, "You people," he got in trouble for "you people." I can't imagine. He said, "You people" at a NAACP. So Ross Perot was the billionaire tech guy who he threw his hat in for the presidential thing, and he almost, I guess people liked him. Demolition of JFK Stadium in Philadelphia. 12 countries signed the Treaty of European Union. So I know a lot of the Christians were thinking, oh, we're going to the Armageddon because they formed the Union of the European Union. Remember, we all thought this was signs of the end times. Look at how the psyop. We had a mud storm somewhere, and a 12-year-old named Greg Kingsley divorced his parents. He won the right to divorce his parents. So we think kids that are doing the whole, what do they call it? No contact. They're going no contact with their parents. Well, this 12-year-old said, hold my beer, and he divorced his parents. He did it the whole way. He took it all the way. Mae Jemison was the first Black woman in space, homegirl in space. And Oprah had a special on TV called Scared Silent about child abuse. And then there was a show called Northern Exposure. Don't you find that interesting? We're talking about the Sami people, and I did watch that show, Northern Exposure. I might want to watch that show again. I wonder if they're airing any reruns. I might want to watch an episode of Northern. Who liked that show, Northern Exposure? It was I thought it was a good show. They had an Earth Summit. So this was the first Earth Cry climate consciousness starting. So you can see the whole environmental things, sustainable development conversations, new maps and new nations. And what else did I miss? New era of politics. Dr. Dre released The Chronic. The first text message was Merry Christmas. Isn't that something? The first text message. Roots. Alex Haley, who wrote The Lie, Roots, he was definitely an agent of confusion to miscategorize Black Americans. Well, they gave him the Ellis Island Award posthumous. I can't say that word. Posthumously. He was a charlatan as far as I'm concerned. Final episode of The Cosby Show. Did I say that? We had cops arrested in Long Island for selling cocaine. Oh my goodness. 5 cops. And oh my goodness. Geraldo Rivera, he fought Frank Stallone, Sylvester Stallone's brother. They had a boxing match on Howard Stern. They used to do a lot of goofy things, like Geraldo was such a weirdo. And then we had the existence of Project Greek Island, which is a secret doomsday bunker that they had in Greenbrier, West Virginia. There's some kind of secret bunker. And there was a great Chicago flood in 1992. And it flooded the underground tunnels in Chicago. Euro Disney opened up. So Disney is poisoning Europe. Trump shuttle was bought by U.S. Air. Donald Trump used to have a shuttle, airplane shuttle service. Crystal Pepsi was debuted. Did anybody ever drink Crystal Pepsi? Let me know. They had World's Fairs. They had 2 World's Fairs. They had Expo 92 in Seville, Spain, and they had Colombo 92 in Genoa, Italy. Interesting, right? What else happened? Harry Connick Jr. was found with a pow at JFK Airport. So he was packing. What else? I think I got it. That's it. I think that we covered it. We got it all. 1992, we got you. Got him. You like Crystal Pepsi? Did it taste good? Let me know if you like Crystal Pepsi. You would watch Northern Exposure again, Beth says, from the very beginning on. Oh, you did rewatch Northern Exposure. You watched it from the very beginning on Amazon Prime. It was fantastic. Did the same thing with Frasier. Oh my God. Beth, that sounds awesome. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I've had a great time with you. I hope you did. We're going to do another rewind. Meet me here. We're doing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. We're going to feed this show into my YouTube channel if you like the format. And I'll do other live streams too in between. But this one happens on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. This is a rewind of our American culture. 60 years of a rewind. So we're just, I'm going to take some phone calls. We could talk a little bit more, but we're going to meet here. So be sure to look for any updates, or, if you're subscribe to the channel and you get a notification. You know how to do that stuff if you want to do it. I would love to have you over here, okay? So subscribe if you want. Let me know if I said anything wrong. Correct me. Like I said, I always invite you to correct me, okay? It's a group project. We're just doing a connecting of the dots, okay? Love you all. And I'm going to figure out the music thing so we can look at music and tie it into this cultural rewind, okay? Take care, and I'll see you next time for episode, we'll be up to episode 20, 29? Hold it, what did I say? I'm losing track. I'll be at, we'll be at episode 29. Yeah, so it'll be 1993. Do you remember 1993? If you do, bring your memory. Yeah, we're going down memory lane together. Thank you, Karen, for keeping the chatmosphere rolling smoothly. Thank you so much, Marlon. Take care, everybody. See you next time. Love ya.